What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for my Bootcamp Journal, Part 2. We're going to go ahead and dive into all the details of P days on this one, so bear with me. This is a long one. So I started this on day 5 just because I didn't really think to do this up until that point. Day 5, I'm starting to basically tell and remember my bootcamp experience. Long story short, it has not been pleasant so far. Day 1 was by far the worst. The moment we stepped in this building, the screaming started. We were told we were worthless and that we were going nowhere. I kind of expected it, to be honest, but I did not expect it to be anywhere near that bad. So, I'm saying this from the perspective of my mindset at the time. It was bad, but in hindsight, it wasn't that bad. I think because you're in the moment and you're nervous and people are screaming at you and you're not used to this type of environment, that it definitely incites that fear in you. You know, you get off the bus, you're told to walk to the building quickly, like don't walk, you're speed walking. And as soon as you walk in those doors, there is one chief there who's, I'm pretty sure this is like his sole job. He just starts screaming at you, yelling at you at the top of his lungs. I don't know how this man still has vocal cords. He's telling you to line up along the flags inside the hallway, and if you step on them, oh boy, don't step on them. Stand perfectly still. Don't do anything. Put your bag behind you. It better be touching your feet. It better be facing a certain way. And if it's not facing the exact way that he tells you, you are going to hear about it. He is going to blast you in front of the entire room. It was pretty crazy, you know. I was one of the first people in. I was at the front of the bus. And so when I get in there, they're yelling and screaming. I do exactly as I'm told. I put my bag where it's supposed to be. I'm facing the right way. I'm standing perfectly still. But the amount of people that will walk in there and just blatantly disregard instructions is mind-blowing. Let me tell you. So many people got yelled at. So many people got screamed at. It's not hard. Just do exactly as you're told. Think and do it, and you will be fine. We were able to make a brief phone call, and I'm pretty sure I forgot to tell my wife that I loved her, which has been eating me alive. I let another recruit use my phone because his was dead, and he accidentally dialed the wrong number and ended up not even being able to make a phone call due to an RDC screaming in his face. I think I feel worse for him at this point. He was standing directly across from me. He pulled his phone out of his bag, and he was trying to turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on, and he's freaking out. You know, I could see it in his face. And he looks at me, and I look at him, and I offer to give him my phone, and he makes a call, or he tries to make a call. You know, it rings, and then he realized he dials the wrong phone number. And I felt so bad for him, because the RDC by that point is already screaming at him, put your phone away, your time is done. He didn't get to make a phone call, so that was pretty shitty. But as I was putting my phone back in my bag, I wasn't able to shut my phone off, and my phone was still on loud, so I was paranoid as hell the rest of the night that my phone was going to ring. Luckily it didn't, but that was a pretty scary moment. The first day we were here, we were not able to sleep at all. It's almost like an initiation ritual or something, but it was hell. So you're not allowed to sleep for the first 48 hours, I think it is, because there is so much in processing that you have to do. There are so many things that you have to get checked out to you. You have to get all of your basic bare bones, like your PT gear, which you sleep in. You got to get all of the stuff that you got to stamp at a later point in time. You got to stamp it. All of this stuff has to be done before you meet your RDCs for the first time. And so that's why they keep you awake. It's not an initiation thing, which obviously I thought it was at the time. It sucks. It sucks. We got all of our gear from the Diddy issue room and went through multiple different processes before even reaching our compartment. At which point we stamped all of our gear. Once all was said and done, 2000 had finally arrived and it was time for taps. Reveille was at 04 on the weekends, so sleeping wasn't nearly as long as I felt I needed. The first day, you get all of your stuff and you have a little stamp kit and you have to stamp all of your stuff. And this is where following directions really comes into play. They tell you exactly where to stamp it, and the amount of people that could not figure that out was the most frustrating part about P days, processing days of boot camp. Day 2 came along and it was pretty much the same shit. Wake up in the rudest way possible, get out of our racks, and get dressed within 60 seconds and cram 63 people into a bathroom with only 10 sinks to shave, all in under 15 minutes. The first day, when we woke up, they come in, they turn the lights on, and immediately start screaming. I mean, you get out of your rack so fast, and you're on that tow line so fast. I mean, it's all under 5 seconds, easily. You're sweating the moment you wake up just because, holy shit, this is happening. Like, oh my god, I'm still here. We had 63 people in our division to start with. That was just on the first day. And we had to cram everybody in a bathroom, and you have to shave and do all of that stuff. You only have 10 sinks to work with, and you have to get all 63 people in there to shave, and it has to be done within like 15 minutes. You have no time to do this. It seems impossible, but surprisingly it's very doable. We got through the day, and then hygiene time came along, so we had to repeat the process, but with showering. Not an easy feat at all, considering hygiene time allotted to us is 30 minutes. 63 recruits, 30 minutes. Do the math. Little do we know that this process was going to get much more difficult on day 3, because we received 25 more recruits for a total of 88. Now we're really fucked for time, but still doable. The second half of our division came in the next day, and we thought that, this is insane. You have all these people trying to shower in under 30 minutes. You can only fit like maybe 10 people in the showers at a time, but nobody's used to this fast-paced lifestyle yet, so everybody's, taking their time with their shower, and you're getting screamed at. They're telling you to get out of the shower, get dressed, and so it's chaotic. It's now day 5, 21:36, and I'm laying in my bunk with nothing but the overhead red lights to help me write while my bunkmate snores above me. We're starting to get the hang of things around here. We have an ARPOC, a yeoman, and other division leaders that are desperately trying to keep this division in line. Last night, after TAPS, some recruits made speeches about how they believe in every single one of us and shared their stories. It was an amazing and truly motivating moment. So everybody's obviously having a very rough time with this experience so far. We're being thrown into this lifestyle that nobody's used to yet, that everybody's freaking out about. Everybody's second-guessing their decision, looking for ways out. And for everybody to stand up and just make these motivational speeches to keep each other in line and say, hey, you can do this. It was one of the most motivational moments in boot camp. If you have people in your division like that, it makes it 10 times easier to get through everything, especially if you've got family at home that you miss, that you want to get back to, that you're trying to find ways out of this hellish experience to just go back to, your normal everyday thing. But I can tell you right now that if you're getting on that bus to go to boot camp, you're doing it for a reason. Don't lose sight of that reason, because if you do lose sight of that reason, you're going to look for a way out. One part in particular, my fellowship mate shared his reason for being here. It brought me to tears to hear that someone besides me was here for their child. It reminded me why I chose to do this, and reinforced all of the emotions to push through this no matter what. Nothing is more important to me than taking care of my beautiful wife and children, who I miss more than words can describe. The first night I was here, I cried myself to sleep because I missed them so much. I wish that was an exaggeration. The first night you get there is hell on earth. You're not used to it at all. And you're being taken away from this completely normal lifestyle, loving lifestyle that you have your family with you every day. And you're being thrown into this thing where no one cares about you. No one gives a shit about you. So it's taking your life and throwing it completely upside down, which is how this is designed. Day 3 was also the day we finally met our permanent RDCs. The initial meet was rough, as expected. They come in, introduce themselves, lay down expectations, and then they say those fateful words that anyone who's ever watched boot camp videos knows is coming. Those words are, and your boot camp experience starts now. When you hear those words, let me just say that if you're planning on going into boot camp, expect those words to come. As soon as you hear those words, shit is about to hit the fan. It is going to be day one all over again. The moment you walked in those buildings, everything's going to happen all over again. These are the guys who are going to be with you throughout your boot camp experience. The moment those words are said, shit gets real really fast. The screaming begins, the shit talking, the name calling. No one is safe and everyone is nervous. I'm fortunate enough to have stayed under the radar thus far, but it probably won't last forever. We have a few guys who are just complete morons and don't listen, which is the worst thing you can do in here. This shit is very simple, but some people just don't get it. Learning each other's names gets easier by the day, and the RDCs start to show their good sides. As long as you do what you're told, then you won't get yelled at. This is all one big mental game that really isn't hard to play at all. Though it's only day 5, I feel confident that I can pull through this. I just hope I can handle the physical side of boot camp when it begins in 3 days. So the physical side of boot camp was something that I was always worried about because the workout routines, I was told, they get pretty intense, which was a lie completely. Let me tell you right now. PT in boot camp is a joke. In Navy boot camp, it is a joke. It's easy as hell. So if you're worried about that, take it from me. It was not hard at all. It was fine. The only thing that I had an issue with throughout boot camp was running, because, and I'll get into this in later videos. I had issues with my knee in boot camp, which I struggled with big time when it came to running and marching and things like that. I've been told by multiple people that P days are the worst. If that's the case, then I'm golden. Some things about boot camp I didn't expect at all, mainly chow time. We aren't allowed to speak or even look at anyone. Our eyes have to be on our food at all times. If our food is gone, we stare at our trays with our hands under the table. Very odd considering this whole process is meant to teach you to be part of a team, but I also understand and respect the structural value of it. I mean, I get that they don't want everybody to get loud, they don't want everybody to get complacent, comfortable with each other, so I can kind of understand it in a way. I feel like that part of it is really overboard. As day 5 comes to an end, I hold my wedding ring in bed and hope my wife is doing the same on the other side of the country. Day 6 is sure to hold some fuckery due to us all getting in trouble a few hours ago. A bunch of my shipmates decided to get out of their bunks and use the head literally less than 1 minute after Chief left the compartment, and he came back and caught them. The Navy is all about one team, one fight. So this means we all pay for one person's mistakes. Chief plans on waking us up in 5 hours as punishment. Hopefully these guys will learn not to be shitheads really fast. I still remember that night. It was one of the first nights that we had our RDCs. Everybody's laying in their racks. Everybody's starting to get a little bit comfortable with each other. And then people want to start pushing boundaries a little bit, which is way too soon to do that. Way too soon. So, your RDCs leave at night to go home. They have families to go home to, too. And the moment our chief walked out, less than 15 seconds after our chief walked out, a bunch of people got out of their racks and wanted to go use the head or go do whatever. And we have a rule in boot camp that no more than 7 people are allowed to be out of the rack at a time. And 15 people got out of the rack. When Chief walked back in, shit hit the fan. Everybody got in trouble. He threatened us with the whole, you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., which, in all honesty, that means he has to come back to work too. So he doesn't really want to do that. So, you'll notice, unless you have a chief who really follows through with their threats, 9 times out of 10 that they're not actually going to wake you up super early. But don't test those waters, though, because you never know. Day 6. Well, the punishment ended up being nothing. We woke up at a normal time, 0400 instead of 0300. However, we had to shower in the morning, which means we went through the whole day getting sweaty and stinky, and then we had to sleep in it. Our RDCs did that a lot. Like, if we got in trouble, they would PT us, do divisional PT, they'd drop us, or beat us is what they call it. And then, if you were in trouble, they'd just make you go to bed. They wouldn't let you shower. It's hard for me to sleep in that. I don't know about you, but I'm learning to take things as they are, but after our busy schedule all day, the RDCs wanted to take out some frustration, so it all landed on us. We got our military uniforms today though, so that was pretty awesome. It seemed to lift everyone's spirits to finally feel like we were part of something bigger and not just the common shitbags. So when we first got our uniforms, everyone was so proud. Everybody's trying it on, strutting around in the mirror. It was one of the proudest moments in boot camp to finally get your uniform with your name on it and see that, yes, I am in the Navy. Well, you're not official yet, but it surely makes you feel official. My favorite part of the whole day, though, was being able to write my wife a small note in a graduation info packet that I had to send back home. Even though it was a simple, "I love you, babe," I know it will make her feel a million times better to know that I'm okay, no matter how vague that statement is. So we had to go to this big room where they go over all the graduation info, but you have to send home the graduation info so that they can start preparing for, plane tickets and all of that. And we were able to write, something in the graduation packet if we wanted to. You could just write it on the side of the packet somewhere. That was definitely a highlight of the day for me. We had a meeting with the chaplain today, which was a huge breath of fresh air. He's basically a minister, which means there was no swearing or degrading comments. Instead, it was very motivational. He opened a lot of our eyes and made us see how alike we actually are. We all have the same fears. A lot of us have the same motivations and ambitions, which only brings us closer together. The chaplain told us to never quit and do our best. Even if we decided to quit, processing out of this place is an 8-week process, so it's best to just stick it out and conquer. So, and that just goes to reinforce what I said earlier. You came into the Navy for a reason. Use that reason to stay in the Navy, because if you decide that you want to leave, it's going to take you just as long to get out as it would have to just push through and graduate. So if you're there for 3 weeks and then you decide, I'm done with this, I want to leave, you let them know that. They're not going to hesitate to get you out. They're going to kick you out. But it's going to take you an additional 8 weeks to leave. And so it's best to just stick through it and graduate, push yourself and get it done. Due to all the screaming and yelling tonight and my shipmates not listening to instructions, we got to bed 2 hours late. It's now 22:37 and everyone is awake and still trying to work out how to improve our performance here. It's not a simple process, but we will get there. One of our petty officers informed us that tomorrow is going to be a long day. We will be in medical for 8 hours and Reveille is 04. So I'm going to hold my ring close to my heart tonight and hope my wife is doing the same. So I did this a lot in boot camp whenever I would go to sleep. I would, hold my ring to my chest, kiss it, and just hope that my wife was doing the same. It kind of helped me just motivate myself to get through it. You find little things like that will help you push through it. I know I certainly used, many different things that would help me reconnect with my home life, remember things from before they got so chaotic, and you'll find ways to do this too. But I think that's what we're going to leave the videos for today. And if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. See you guys next time.